Do you think this has ever been shown in a theater in the United States?
No, absolutely not.
It actually debuted in the United States in 1951 on TV.
1951?
Yeah, so not even like 9 years later.
Oh my God. We really didn't care what was happening over there, did we? I mean, look, it stars nobody. Don't get me wrong. Everybody in here is on Wikipedia, not just IMDb, because that can be anybody.
What was it, Andy Askey or something?
Yeah, it is the star who plays Arthur King.
Yeah.
And he looks so much like, oh my gosh, the guy who plays the grandfather in A Hard Day's Night. What is his name? Like Wilfred. It's not Wilfred Brimley. It's God. What is his name? I'll tell you in a second. But he looks so much like him that at first I thought it really was him.
I was thinking of that elf in Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
Wilfred Bramble.
Oh, okay.
I know the elf who looks like
the nerd
Sergeant Bilko.
Yeah.
Yeah. God, look I'm pulling out a Sergeant Bilko reference. Jesus.
Well, this movie invites that.
Oh no, it absolutely does. Actually, I often wonder if if the elf in Rudolph was actually intentionally modeled after Phil Silvers. But anyway, not really relevant to this what we're talking about.
He's modeled after Ned Ryerson.
Very much so. Yes, the great Stephen Tobolowsky. So yeah, I was right. It was actually Gaumont and Gainsborough, which it was like British studios, and that's like saying Universal or something. It's like one of their big studios.
Yeah.
Not like it wasn't Ealing, which is like kind of the top of the heap
in
the UK, but it was somewhere in there. I don't think it was like Poverty Row.
Right.
But yeah, so this was a very slight sort of film, but sometimes, like, just given a lot of what we've been watching lately, it's all either been like things that have really spoken to our souls and made us think about why we do what we do, or they've been just slogs that have been horrible to watch. And like, okay, look, we just watched the Weird Science and it sucked. So like like we've been watching like stuff that's really been problematic, or as I was saying, like made us like really think about the meaning of art and all this other stuff. And this is
meatballs.
Yeah, yes, exactly. Hey, you're joking, but it just doesn't matter speech still speaks to my heart. But this is fine.
Yeah,
this is a real turn your brain off type thing.
This didn't speak to your heart.
No. Well, this isn't a completely empty picture.
Yeah.
I mean, there's some stuff we can talk about.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't going to be one of those 2-hour-long episodes, thank God.
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So look, this is not Mrs. Miniver. This isn't Dunkirk. As far as World War II pictures go, this isn't even Buck Privates.
So how does this compare to the Once and Future King?
I mean, it doesn't.
Yeah.
Look, honey, this movie is closer to Dumbo.
So what is the book that he keeps reading from?
Oh, look, there are so many variations. Like, what would you call when you take like I guess like a bowdlerization or a retelling of Thomas Mallory? What he's reading from is a script writer taking taking Thomas Mallory and playing with it to make it sound quote unquote better or whatever, like half remembered ideas. And that's all this is. When he's reading from the book, I don't think he's quoting Mallory exactly, but I think that's the implication, is that the book he's carrying around is probably Mallory. Mm-hmm. But I don't know for sure. Although like the bit about the Lady of the Lake's arm clad in the finest samite, there's a very almost exactly the same line in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and now I kind of want to go and pull one of my several copies of Thomas Mallory off the shelf and just see is like, oh, is that an exact quote somewhere from him about when they get the sword from the Lady of the Lake or not?
Yeah.
It might be a paraphrase.
If you can't trust Terry Jones, who can you trust?
Well, I actually do trust Terry Jones.
Do.
Someday we'll get to Monty Python and the Holy Grail, but I'm kind of putting it off because it's a big deal.
What was that medieval show he did?
What, Crusades?
Yeah.
Yeah, that was. I remember that being a good one. Yeah.
I don't know how much I saw.
So actually, it turns out it's like a musical.
Yep.
And it's very much one of those kind of 1940s. Like if this was an American film, it would have starred the Andrews Sisters.
Yeah.
In fact, the opening is a musical number sung by 3 women, one of whom I don't think really shows up again afterwards, because we don't really need her for the story. But they needed to have 3 girls because the Andrews Sisters.
Yeah.
So, but we do have 2 female characters, Susan
Yep.
and Gwen.
Gwenny.
So Susan is just a normal girl who I think they try to imply that she's from Canada because she talks about being from the Yukon or something. And that's mostly just masking the fact that the actress was born in, like, the Bronx. Because the movie starts and I'm just like, yeah, that's not a British accent. What's going on here? So they make her Canadian.
Yep.
And the actress herself, I think, had moved to the UK in the 30s, and she just worked in British film. And then the other character, Gwenny, she is I guess the daughter of a lord or something, but has joined whatever the British version of the WACS is, the Women's Auxiliary Corps. I don't know what they call it.
What was it, WTA or?
Yeah, something like.
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't remember exactly what they call it in here, but essentially the Women's Auxiliary Corps of the Army. The UK had one, the US had one, before we started, integrating. Is that the right word? Co-eding? What is the word for?
I don't know.
So yeah, you've got these young women who are joining the auxiliaries. All of the men are, of course, signing up because it's the war and all that, and they all want to be heroes and all that terrible nonsense. But then you've got this one guy, Arthur, who is
Arthur King.
Yeah. Whose main job seems to be like making maps for the army that are constantly being updated, and so he's very frustrated. But because he wants to be a hero, he wants to go off and join the army like everyone else, but they won't have him because he's a little nerd. And the reality is they won't have him because that actor was like in his 40s. Like they keep talking about him like he's like this young dude, but he is obviously an older man. Like he is my age, and no military should take me. Are there fit men in their 40s? Sure. In 1942? No. I'm sorry. I look at guys in their 40s back in that time period, and they're all, it's like today's 75-year-olds. Maybe not that bad. But no, I mean, look, I'm sorry. When you're in your 40s, you are not a guy who's going to, like, at that point, if you're being drafted, you're losing the war. So, yeah, they have it's a musical. Now, look, they didn't exactly have like Noel Coward writing the songs here. With the opening song, they reused the lyrics more than once, like of the opening lines, and it's not in a way that it's trying to hammer home a point. It's more like, I don't know. It's like they're rationing the lyrics as much as they're rationing the sugar. Yeah. They just kind of reuse the same lines over and over again. It's like, okay, fine. Nobody really cares. We're just here to watch like pretty girls sing, right?
One thing about this film is that you could actually hear everything.
Yeah.
And I was shocked because this is on YouTube. I've seen so many old movies on YouTube that the sound is mixed horribly. And it's just like...
Yeah, I was surprised at how decent the sound was on this.
Yeah.
This movie, you're not going to rent it anywhere, I don't think. But it is on YouTube. And the print quality, image-wise, it's not great.
Nah.
It looks
blurry.
It's blurry, but the sound quality is actually surprisingly good.
Yeah, maybe it was filmed off of a TV.
So we've got our 2 girls, Susan and Gwen, and we've got Arthur, and Arthur is sort of with Susan. And then there's a guy who's actually in the army, and
Lance.
His name is Lance. So Gwen and Lance have this sort of on again, off again thing.
Wait
going.
a second, Lance.
Yeah.
Gwen.
Uh-huh.
I bet it would take 3/4 of the movie for that guy to figure it out.
And his own name is Arthur King. As you say, 3/4 of the way through, all of a sudden it occurs to our hero that, oh, this all sounds very familiar. It sounds like this book that I keep talking about.
In fact, I think Lance's name is Lance Elliott.
Oh, God. This is the hokey stuff that this movie indulges in. Again, this is some real turn your brain off and eat some Raisinets.
Yeah.
That's fine.
No Merlin, by the way, just Berlin.
Oh, boo! Also, they never get to Germany in this. They end up in North Africa.
Yeah.
And also, North Africa, which looks a lot like a Welsh quarry.
Yeah.
There is some real Doctor Who vibes in terms of the scenery here. They're supposed to be in North Africa, and I swear to God, they put up a fake saguaro cactus. This may as well have been Three Amigos. Look, I realize there was a war on, but come on.